Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere. I appreciate it. Today, I've got an important, interesting update for you regarding new activity around Lucin Pond in Lucin, Utah, and it's to do with the family. As well, I have broken and reached a new milestone today. This video is my 300th video about the Dylan Rounds case. 300 videos documenting, analysing, theorising, trying to make sense of the case and what happened and where did Dylan Rounds end up. And we continued that discussion today, okay? As we do go along, feel free to share your thoughts, opinions and reactions in the live chat as we do go on. If you haven't already, feel free to check my previous video out. I'll provide a link down below as well, some additional links if you wish to visit them, okay? As well, we'll tone it back today. I don't think YouTube approves of my recent behaviour, been a bit of a bad boy, okay? So we just keep it a bit cooler today, right? Get locked on and focused with what we're talking about. We don't need to check the comments of the last video because there isn't too many to respond to and there's no questions, so we can leave that part out. I think what we can do though later on in today's video is I'll share with you the Aidan Clune Facebook community page, kind of like the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, but it's about Aidan Clune, another missing person. I'm sure a couple of you will be familiar with. It's like within the area, not really close to where Dylan Rounds went missing, but not an extreme distance, if you know what I'm saying. So maybe we can spread awareness of the Aidan Clune community today and see where things are at there with updates and reports, etc. But to kick things off, we need to get into this Dylan Rounds discussion. Now, it's important that I provide a backstory to you so you understand this and the reason why it's unique but also strange. So, shout out to one of the Montello locals who notified me about it. I don't know how or what convinced them to go on that specific post, but maybe they were just browsing for it at the time, just having a look for possible updates. But basically, on the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, you go on it, sometimes you will get posts which are from months ago, maybe a year ago, depending, right? I don't know if it's different if you're logged in, but because I don't have an account, I just simply go onto the page and then whatever shows front of the screen. It could be a new post or it could be a really, really old one. It's kind of randomized, at least from my experience. And that's what happened with this Montello local. They came across an old post, they clicked on it, nothing new to see, but in the comments section, there were some new comments and one by Candice Cooley. That's what makes it kind of interesting. I mean, out of all the posts you could comment on, why that really old one? Anyway, let's get right into it on the Facebook page and I'll share with you the post. We might as well read out the old post just to see what it's simply about. Then we can move to the comment section, all right? Here we are on the page. Just wanted to share it with you in its raw format. You scroll on down and as you can see, there are some older posts there, 12th of October 2022. But then there's one 16 hours ago by Candice Cooley. I believe that's to do with that rib barbecue food event or so. Ron's Tyre and Motorsports. Dana Wade is the grill master to beat this year. Dana is our only two-time champion. Okay, what does it say about more? Does it say anything about Dylan? We'll just check it out anyway. I might as well show this with you because it is up-to-date recent news in relation to Dylan. There we go. So within the post it says, please consider donating to our cause this year, Dylan's legacy. Dylan Round's parents will be attending this event along with a member of the Canine Task Force. They hope to bring canine search awareness to the public and help those to understand what a huge benefit these search dogs contribute when trying to find a loved one. Justin Rounds and Candice Cooley, Dylan's parents, plan to pay forward the proceeds of this fundraiser to Canine Task Force. The organisation has spent countless hours searching for their son and will continue to do so until Dylan is found. We are excited for this event. It gets bigger and better each year because of all of you. We have 22 returning competitors. Okay. So you see this event. Hope to see you June 10th, 2023 at our Idaho Falls location. Don't know where the location exactly is, but on June 10th, Idaho Falls, Dylan Round's parents will be attending this event, and they might even do it like a bit of a speech and talk to people about awareness, missing people, searching for them, equipment, etc. So, I mean, how could you interpret this? I have a feeling that people are going to interpret this in a bad way. I just feel that. Let me know your thoughts. So the point of view, what I'm getting at is, I can imagine some will say, why is Candice Cooley and Justin attending some food event, a bloody food event, when they should be searching for Dylan? You get what I'm saying? I just feel people are going to start thinking that way. Why are you attending all these events and media stuff when you should be out there looking for Dylan? But, you know, if attending these events can help lead to more success rates in finding Dylan, then it makes sense to do that, right? But yeah, I guess it just depends how you interpret it. As I said, the proceeds, money raised, is going to be put towards that canine unit. And I think the reason why is, like, this canine unit has been doing it voluntarily for however long. And, you know, I think Candice Cooley, the family, Justin, want to give back money to be able to help the funding behind it, right? But, you know, can I just say one thing? What happened to that reward money? You remember that $100,000? Where did that 100K go? That money was withdrawn. Where was it put? Just put back into the bank account, or was some of it put into finding Dylan Rounds? Does anyone know? You know, I'm not the one to be telling people what to do with money. Not at all. I'm not in that position. But all I'll say is, if you got $100K, $100,000, you know, in your hand to be able to put up as reward money for the general public, then maybe some of that could have been used for giving to this canine unit instead of raising money. Do you need to raise money when you already have a reasonable amount of money? Does that make sense? Do people understand what I'm saying? I mean, maybe there's a possibility that the 100K reward money that was withdrawn might have already been spent at the time, but given to a charity. And, you know, they're just raising money in between now and then. Yeah, it's a bit of a messy situation, at least just in my opinion, okay? Do we have any other comments here? Not really. No, we don't. Anyway, let's just return back to the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page. Just wanted to share that with you. There you go, 13th of May. That's another oldish one. I believe it's below here. Here we go. 7th of October 2022. If you're just now looking at this, yes, correct. This post is pretty old and outdated, though there is new activity within the comment section. So bear with me and hang on. What we'll do first of all is just check, you know, the caption of this post to try and understand it, and maybe reflect on and check maybe for inconsistencies as well. So, Candice Cooley said at the time, "We had the most amazing help today. Thank you, Heavy D and the whole Diesel Brothers crew. These guys are truly amazing and have helped us to try and find Dylan since the first week. They have offered assistance that is up and beyond what we could ever have imagined. They took the time to fly the Equisearch drone today and will continue assisting us. Not only that, they shocked Justin Rounds and I when they said they are going to match the reward money. Yes, you read it right. It'll be now $200,000. They are truly dedicated to helping us bring Dylan home. Justin and I will forever be grateful to them. People like them change the world. We will be posting an updated flyer and be also on the lookout for when we post our interview with Justin and I today and more information on the technology we are using. Is this around the time when Heavy D also did that interview with Candice Cooley and Justin in the grain shed back in 2022? I believe so, yeah. It will be, most definitely. Yeah, I remember it now, because when Heavy D offered to match that already reward money in place with an extra 100k, Heavy D mentioned it in the interview when they were in the grain shed. Okay, yeah, I remember this. Hopefully people in the chat remember this too. And yeah, before Texas Equisearch went down to help the family with Mob Crew Chris, the K9 unit, before winter time, back in October, around there, Heavy D came down first to be able to operate that full spectral drone, in which that full spectral drone was assisted in terms of being bought by Duty Ron, who was able to raise money from his channel and put it towards the drone, so then Texas Equisearch could use it down the line, which was before winter time in the future. Does that make sense? Though in between that point, Heavy D and his crew, because they were able to operate drones, I guess they're qualified and know how to use them, they went down to help, taking photos around the place, Lucin, the barn and further afar, maybe the wash, I'm not quite sure. Sent the photos to Texas Equisearch, they analysed them, and we never heard back. We never got an update. Candice Cooley, Justin, remained silent about it, right? Fast forward to March 2023, the 3rd of March, I believe, when Brenner was officially charged. And, you know, we got the breaking news and all the talk from Candice Cooley on the East Idaho News channel or Doug's channel, whichever one. Still, you know, that being very important breaking news, revealed about the 27-second clip of Brenner with the blood on him. And yet still, even at that point, that late on, we never heard about the photos from the full spectral drone taking photos for soil disturbance. We never got an update on any of that. Very interesting, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. We can do a poll right now. The poll can be, do you feel that because we never got a true update from this drone footage analysis, is it because they found something and they can't reveal it to anyone? Or something else? I can't think of another reason, to be honest. It's gone on long enough. It's been many months since back then. I'll think of something to fill in the poll, okay? But one of the options could be, yeah, they found something, but they're not allowed to release it. The other option, no, they didn't find anything, but there was no need to tell the general public. And then some other option. Make sure to vote. Let me know your thoughts about it. What do you think, Tom Evans? Do you think the drone full spectral one was successful in detecting soil disturbance? Or was it a waste of time? Let me know. Is there anything else here to acknowledge or analyse? Not really. I mean, the bit about saying Heavy D assisted at the very beginning. Yeah, I do remember that. That's why we had that flyby by Heavy D on the 4th of June, which was 2 days after spring cleaning, when Brenner moved the grain truck out, hence why it was on display when Heavy D flew by. What else, though? Heavy D, they offered assistance. Wait, did it say something about helping Equisearch? They took the time to fly Equisearch drone today. Okay. Now, I do remember in one article or somewhere, not that long ago, what I was reading through, it was referencing about Texas Equisearch helping Candice Cooley at the beginning of the case. And I thought, well, that's a bit of a contradiction because Candice Cooley said that Texas Equisearch was never allowed to join in and help. They only got the green thumbs up, the go-ahead to join in and assist just before winter time, that big push before winter. You remember? So I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, got a photo of Dylan. That's an old post which I've seen. But let's just check the comments out if it will let me. And you'll get the idea. This is where it gets interesting. This is where we hear about the strange activity, okay? I don't need to click view previous comments because they're too old and not that important. As you see, just about every single one is from 8 months ago. 8 months ago, that's quite some time, right? But if we scroll down, and I'll do it quick because there is quite a few comments. Look here, right at the bottom. First of all, can you see where it says Levita Compton? They say it's hard to fathom that it will be a year in a few days' time. God bless all those who love Dylan. That was posted 17 hours ago. An 8-month-old post, and someone decided to comment on this 17 hours ago. Strange, isn't it? But I guess maybe to other people who load up the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page and are greeted with an old post like that, they might still comment on it, right? But that's not the actual comment, though. It's here. Can you see at the bottom of the screen where it says Janice Peterson Ford? Yeah? Can you see her? Let's just read what she's got to say. Take in mind, this was posted last Monday. Monday just gone. Okay? Janice says, we were at Lucin Pond this weekend on a Sunday, and there were 3 cars that had stopped and people walking around. We saw them again headed towards Montello. We were just wondering if that happened to be Dylan's family, since it was so close to the anniversary of his disappearance. So we're speaking of Monday just gone, this comment was posted, and the day before Monday, the day before the comment was posted, on the Sunday, Janice was out there near Lucin Pond. I don't know if they were literally on top of Lucin Pond or just parked up nearby, but they saw 3 cars that stopped and people were walking around all within a close-ish proximity. And those 3 cars ended up going towards Montello later in the day. Who are these people? Why are they there at that time? Are some of you interested as to why? Well, we scroll on down. Look who's there. Candice Cooley. Hit the reply. Candice replied saying, it was us, but has nothing to do with it being close to the anniversary. Okay. Bit of a defensive response. I can understand what Janice was talking about. You know, we were just wondering if that happened to be Dylan's family since it's getting near to that anniversary. You know, if it's getting near to that anniversary, maybe the family might just head on out there in memory of Dylan. You know like when you get graveyards and it comes up to the anniversary of someone that's passed away, you may go down to the graveyard and take flowers with you. It's kind of like a normal thing to do, right? So maybe the same was happening here with Dylan. You got to remember, Candice Cooley and maybe Justin at times have gone down there, right, to reflect on things, to reflect on the land, to walk in the footsteps of Dylan, just to hang around near the pivot or the farm area and just take it all in. Candice Cooley saying, oh, it's very eerie, the feeling when looking about. But then maybe on another occasion, she was referring back on reminiscing about Dylan Rounds and his farming, just simply reflecting on stuff. So why can't it not happen here? It's a valid thought. It's like a valid assumption, right? And yet Candice Cooley is like, nope, got nothing to do with the anniversary. Nope, but we are down there. So at least Candice Cooley has confirmed that last Monday, the family, Candice Cooley, I assume Justin Rounds, and I don't know who else, was within the area of Lucin Pond. But why? Why? What I am going to do, we can go on the maps to continue this discussion in a second, so it's more visual for you to understand. And there's a small chance I might be able to link it in with what Weezer said recently. I do feel this comment section is unique simply for the fact that it's an old post. Back to the top, 7th of October 2022, and yet we've got comments, very recent ones, just last Monday ago. This is the sort of stuff you would easily miss and pass by, and you would never know, right? And it makes you think, what other possibilities are out there where information could be shared or an important question is answered, though it's on an old post or on a different platform, different website? Will any of us ever see it and get lucky and just simply scroll by? Is that even possible? Well, on this occasion, it was. And it was good of that Montello local to point it out, to be honest, because I definitely wouldn't have clicked on it. You look at an old post and think, so what? It's old, right? Old news. We've moved on since. But the comment section can always be active. Same applies to YouTube, of course. But, when it came to YouTube, at least with Kenny Veach, what I did was I would go back on some of the obvious ones like the Kenny Veach videos just to check to see if anyone else has provided updates, any strange comments, if Sharon Pilgrim's ex-girlfriend said anything. And sometimes you did get the odd new comment. And even on Kenny's M Cave video, the hike one, if you check back in every once in a while, some people provide new timestamps of the video claiming that they found something in the footage, something mysterious and odd, right? I've not really applied that looking back at old comments or old posts for new comments in the Dylan Rounds case, though I guess we've implemented it right now. So before we go on to the maps to continue this discussion, if you have suddenly joined in, feel free to rewind back to the beginning. But the summary is we've got an old post here, yet new comments. And one of the new comments is from a witness who was in Lucin, Utah, near the pond most recently, and witnessed 3 cars within the area parked up with people walking about, who were later heading down to Montello afterwards. Candice Cooley responded and confirmed it was her, I assume Justin, and somebody else. What were they doing there is unknown. So to try and make sense of things, I feel we need to go onto the maps right now. Here we are. And I think what I will do, just to follow that trend of looking back on stuff, we just briefly check the photos out very, very quickly. You might wonder why. Just in case anyone's uploaded any new photos. There we go. Just scroll through them very quickly. Most of these are old. 2022. Do we have any 2023? No, we don't. That's a shame, that. I'm just surprised people haven't uploaded their own photos of the area to put Lucin more on the map and spread more awareness of Dylan Rounds. I don't know if I could find it on the spot because when I tried last time it didn't work, but near Devil's Playground, someone uploaded a photo there to do with a poster of Dylan Rounds, missing person 1. So that was good of them. Don't know who did it, but, yeah. but it spreads awareness. Anyway, let's zoom out here, make sure we're facing north. Marker there, nearby is Lucin Pond, this green area. Now, obviously, it's not really like that anymore because it did get decimated early 2023 when whoever, I assume, authority or so, went down there to clear the pond out, drain it, as well as, search for it once again. And they didn't find anything. So all in all, Lucin Pond, despite Dylan Round's phone being found in there, nothing else was found, right? No body, no other bits of evidence. And I guess in the eyes of Candice Cooley, it was double checked, ticked off the list. Kind of like the dirt mound in what she said, and maybe other places too. You get what I'm saying? So if that really is the case, then why do you need to go back to this spot? Right? Now, as for Janice, if that's her name, who was out in the area at the time, last Monday, she said she was at the pond. Was she literally at the pond or maybe parked up by the side here, such as like that car, for example, parked up? Maybe. Because I believe with is it to do with the railroad community? People in charge of that with the pond being near to it. I believe so. You do need permission to go onto the pond and walk around it. Last time when Ty Corbin went down here to document it, right, after it was dredged, searched and disrupted, Ty Corbin said he did get permission from the correct people to be able to go onto the land and walk about. Now, did this visitor called Janice do the same thing, or were they just simply parked up by the side? My additional question would be, what was she doing in the area? Was she with anyone else? Were they hiking in the area or just passing on by? Does anyone know? And by the way, what is that there? Is that another cattle grid? Let me know if anyone knows, okay? Because here it's kind of like a parking area, as you can see. Hence why a car's parked up there. And I believe that black thing could be the gate into the place as you walk in. But basically, around this area somewhere, Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds and somebody else was parked up and walking about. But why? Why this area? Are we talking about northeast, southwest? I can't imagine north. Maybe east, possibly south. Unlikely west, though probably does apply later on in the day when she saw those 3 cars heading in that direction, somewhere down that way to go down to Montello, right? Though, maybe Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds and whoever were around this area because it had something to do with the wash. Because let's not forget, nearby, this wash here, middle of the screen, which, ranges back all the way over that way, which will eventually be in parallel to the Grainshed property. The wash, which covers about, how many miles was it? About 8 to 10 miles heading towards Montello. But before it crosses over, it kind of comes to an abrupt end. And then on the other side, across the border, you've got Luray Wash. And we did do a previous video, as some of you will remember, when measuring the distance of this wash and revealing the location of the track marks, which were documented 5th of June 2022. Okay? And obviously with Candice Cooley over time talking about the wash, a wash out there, that's where Dylan's at, that's what we're looking at, that's where we sent canines to, that's where I've led searches, that's where I have used drones or ordered drones to be used there. It seems like quite a high priority type of location, right? When looking for Dylan Rounds. And because this watch does cover a fair bit of distance, and as well at this zone is in parallel to the pond, which is just here, possibility that within this area, roughly speaking, wherever Janice was parked up, she could see in the distance vehicles parked nearby. But why are they just simply parked up? And why is Candice Justin just walking about? Right? Does it have anything to do with the documentary about Dylan Rounds? You know, if on the 10th of June, upcoming, Candice Justin are supposed to be attending an event in Idaho Falls, this like barbecue cook-off thing, to also raise money for Dylan Rounds. You know, are they doing all these different media events and invitations and interviews in between? Maybe. I mean, what we do need to acknowledge, when was the last time we knew of Candice Cooley Justin the family being out in Lucin, specifically directly looking for Dylan Rounds? Well, it's quite a few weeks ago now. Think back to Doug, no thanks, the last and latest interview on his channel with Candice Cooley. Candice Cooley responded to the question and said, oh, couple of weeks back then, we went out into Lucin searching for Dylan for 4 days straight. And ever since then, fast forward to now, there's been no more searches. No more searches. Not much has gone on. I can't remember if I did look at a post in between where Candice Cooley said, no, we've not been out there since. But it's been very quiet at least, so you would assume not much has been done. And then next thing you know, last Sunday, and then we've got this. Wow. So it's all within a small space of time, right? Not that long ago. And yet, supposedly, when we were actually told by Candice Cooley directly and publicly and openly on YouTube, it was many, many weeks ago, and yet just recent, there's been a bit more new activity. And yet, without these interviews on YouTube, we wouldn't know about this, right? Because it was on an old post on the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page. So this is a very good example and also very important information which would have been easily missed. And 9 times out of 10, most people wouldn't know about this. So there's possibilities that, at least at this moment in time, me covering this, I am the only person to know of this and cover it on YouTube, right? So make sure to take notes, make sure to question this and spread awareness, because it's very interesting, this. The main question of what was Candice Cooley Justin doing in this area. And, to further question stuff, what was that third vehicle, right? I guess Justin was in his own, Candice Cooley in hers, but who was that third individual? And what was that third vehicle? Was it a camera crew, the documentary team, something to do with Paramount TV? Do you think that's a possibility? I mean, I believe in the past, Candice Cooley saying that they recorded stuff with camera crews in the past to do with the Dylan Rounds documentary. I assume it probably had something to do with maybe the wash, more so the Grainshed property over that way, right? Just like either introductions or whilst they're doing interviews, talking through the case, how things played out, what happened, pointing out the dirt mound, Grainshed property, all the typical places of interest and key locations, and of course the pond too. Now, is there a small possibility that Sunday just gone, Candice Cooley Justin were near to the pond because they were recording some footage for the documentary of Dylan Rounds? Or were they searching about this area because they were looking for Dylan directly? It's just making me think, because If this area has been double checked, like literally double checked, then why do you keep coming back here then? Why be in this area? What's the need? Why park up cars nearby and walk about? What is there to see here? If the focus is about the wash, then why aren't they in the wash? Candy's coolly saying it's got nothing to do with the anniversary. So basically, from the looks of it, Candice, Justin and whoever out there, Sunday just gone, but the motive wasn't going out there for the anniversary. So likely the motive wasn't going out there to reflect on Dylan Rounds. So if it's got nothing to do with reflecting on Dylan Rounds, then maybe it's got nothing to do with Dylan's legacy or the documentary, because that's all about reflecting and telling the story. So maybe it's more physical, actually searching the area. We'll do a poll anyway, just to allow people in the chat to share their thoughts and vote as to what they think the real reason to why Candice, Justin were out there. The poll can be, based off what we know of now, just recent, why do you think Justin, Candice Cooley and whoever was out there searching or just hanging about near Lucin Pond? One of the voting options can be because they were filming, recording some footage to do with Dylan's documentary. The other option can be because they're trying to actively look and search for Dylan Rounds' remains within the area. And then the other option can be just other reasons, and make sure to list down below in the comments, okay? Make sure to do that. I would slant towards the idea that maybe it had something to do with the wash. You know, you got a main dirt road here, quite thick, goes down the back roads, right? And then up that way, you follow that one, and it does go all the way into the direction, going over the border into Montello, Nevada. So you can see how it all connects. So likely this is all to do with the back roads and nothing to do with the main highway, right? So you get an idea of where they may have been situated, okay? But yeah, that witness who was out there, why was she there? Just hiking and camping, or was she also looking for Dylan Rounds? You know, okay, we've heard about Ty Corbin with Time, Lance Kelly, maybe Arizona Traveler, you know, just like people in between that have gone out there looking for Dylan. Though, are there other people going out there who are going like under the radar unless they make their own presence known online? Is that a possibility? Is it like the same with the Kenny Veach case? Could be. I mean, you probably have Montello locals here and there that have gone out within Lucin looking about, but they've not shared their stories online because they don't feel the need to because they've not really found anything, right? But it creates that level of mystery as to what's really going on out there. You know, some locals have said, we've not really seen much activity, or we've not really seen many searches actually taking place. But then here and there, loosely, we're getting reports of independent individuals going out there searching about besides Lance and Ty. These independent people, are they finding anything? You know, do they have any other motives for why they're there? I don't know. Open to interpretation. But like I said, the wash, the main one, the wash with the track marks in, 5th of June 2022 recorded. Candice Cooley saying they look very familiar to Dylan Rounds' truck. Maybe that's why Candice and Justin were here, continuing the search through the wash. That's a possibility. I'm still interested to know who that third vehicle belonged to. Another family member, some kind of authority. Was it a sheriff, police? Was it someone with additional equipment, a drone? It makes you think, doesn't it? It's kind of vague as to what we've been told, but we have been told something, and something important. The family being out there, it's one of two things: looking for Dylan or documenting Dylan. That's what I would say. Okay? Very interesting. this area, the Wash. Is there a specific name for this entire wash? Does anyone know? Because I know further on up it does part ways and splits off, and it's called 1,000 Creek or 1,000 Creek Springs. But, you know, if you carry on going west, literally, like how I did, you get to a place called Tacoma Valley. So is it called Tacoma Valley Wash? Could be, because in a way it's, for a portion of it, in parallel to the dirt road, this one, and I believe this road, all the way going into Montello, is called Tacoma Road, spelt with an E. An E. Tacoma Road, right? Yeah, this is very interesting. Would anything like this come up in an interview? Let's say East Idaho News did an update into Candice Cooley. Do you know, like how I said with my predictions about the upcoming anniversary of Dylan? Okay, fast forward till then. And they say, right, you know, you, the family, been out there ever since? Would Candice Cooley say, oh yeah, just a week ago or so we were here on a Sunday? Yeah. Would that be brought up? Maybe. At least, though, we're hearing about it much earlier on, right? This is very interesting. Now, let's move on to the second part, right? This visitor, I don't know if they were a local or literally visiting, coming by, but Janice said later on in the day on the way back, she noticed that those 3 vehicles were going down, headed to Montello. Why Montello? So I assume driving down this road, Tacoma Road. Now, where was Janice? And where was she, you know, coming back from? Coming back from the pond? Driving down this road? Because what other roads are there? There's not really any other options, to be honest, unless you're still parked up and you see the vehicles driving down this way. But yeah, so from what we know of now, and Candice Cooley confirming it, basically later on in the day, on Sunday, just gone, Candice Cooley in her vehicle, Justin Rounds and whoever, driving down this road, likely Tacoma Road, to go down to Montello. But why would they go down to Montello? What's the reason for that? Now, reflecting on the past, right? I can't tell you the last time when they did go down there, but what I can say is, from what I do remember, in the early days, I believe the 31st of May, the 31st of May 2022, when Kurt Wadsworth made the call to the family and police, passing on information from a psychic reader about Dylan Rounds supposedly being held hostage in Montello, Nevada at the time by Chase Venstra, Robert Aviles, turned out to be a false call, false information, wasting police time. But the police and family all drove down to Montello to check things out, right? It could have been a decoy, a distraction for whoever else to return Gunn and key fob back. Though, it just depends how many days Candice Cooley, family and police were down there in Montello for. If it happened on the 31st of May, did they stay there overnight, going into the 1st and 2nd of June? Because Candice Cooley did say on the 2nd of June she was back down at the Grangeshed property nearby, and so were the police. And Candice Cooley said she was monitoring Brenner all day and he did not leave the property. So who returned the gun and key fob? Well, because they were returned on different days, you know, it could be another individual, right? But at least on the 1st of June, I don't know if Candice Cooley or anyone was down at the Grangeshed property. I don't know. But on the 31st of May, a couple of days before, they were all down here in Montello. So it would have been a good time, a good opportunity to return any missing items back to Dylan's farm. Though, as we've heard, that didn't happen. It was the following day. So my question is, the following day, 1st of June, was any police, authority, family at Dylan's farm or near the grain shed? I know about the 2nd of June, but what about the 1st of June? What happened? And, you know, what you've also got to acknowledge, and it does kind of counter Candice Cooley's point. Candice Cooley, more so in recent time, was saying how on 2nd of June, it couldn't have been Brenner returning the gun or key fob back. It couldn't have been because I was there all day and I didn't see him move. But then many months ago, Candice Cooley did acknowledge, saying that items were returned to Dylan's farm overnight, during nighttime when it's dark. And obviously, when it's that late on at night, you obviously go to bed. So if Candice Cooley was out there, she probably would have returned back to a trailer, and so did the family and whoever else, and went to sleep. And then whoever went down to Dylan's farm and then returned the item, one of them, back. So Candice Cooley kind of has contradicted herself there with time, you know? Anyway, that was just a brief reflection of the last time I remember when family went down there to Montello. And it was for the reason of assuming Dylan Rounds was held hostage, right? So on this occasion, Sunday just gone, why did they come back down to Montello? Does anybody know? Now, if any locals can explain in the chat, feel free to do so. What I do want to say is, okay, and acknowledge that a couple of days ago, I believe, Weezer did leave an interesting comment, but I don't know if she was reflecting on what I was talking about, or if Weezer was talking about this event which happened on Sunday, right? It'll make more sense in a second. Let's just go down street view level. There we go. We've got a reasonable, clean one. So we've got Montello here. Ron Tello said that's his little building. Okay. He's tried designing it, making it pretty and purple. Good for you, Ron. But that aside, right? Candice Cooley family, 3 vehicles driving down this way. Driving down this way. Looking that way is east. Looking down that way is west. So they would have been coming west from Lucin. Okay? But yeah, why? Why were they here? What were they doing in Montello? Parking up, talking to Kurt Wadsworth? What was the case? Now, the only other time when someone like Justin Rounds was down here was in the early days when he was parked outside Saddle Sore Bar, which is down that way. You see that middle of the screen, that little white square thing in between the trees? That's the sign to Saddle Sore Bar. And opposite it, nearby, Justin Rounds was parked up because he was like eyeing out and, stakeout, on the lookout for people, monitoring, I think more so Kurt Wadsworth, right? So it's around that time. I believe it must have been after the 31st of May. I would assume so. Maybe Justin was on the lookout in this area outside Saddle Sore Bar because it was personal aimed at Kurt, in which Kurt making that false call beforehand, Justin felt a bit suspicious as to what was going on there. So he was trying to see if there was any other unusual activity. That would be a possible motive. But yeah, that's another past event. Let's talk about Weezer's comment. And maybe she's already mentioned it herself in the chat. But basically, Weezer did say, and if Weezer can confirm this, it would be helpful. So my last Dylan Rounds video, I believe it was on the wash, I think. I was talking about how Candice Cooley, well, last time she said she was out there with family looking for Dylan was several weeks ago, and they were there for 4 days straight. You remember that? Weezer responded to me, which I assume was responding to that time period, Weezer saying that she saw Justin Rounds parked up around this area, parked up nearby. And he had his vehicle, and he also had like a trailer of some sort. Maybe the trailer for living in temporarily. You know, if you're going hiking, camping, you know, you're searching for someone, you need some kind of living quarters, right? So like kind of like a mobile living home. RV, trailer. You get what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah? And that was many weeks ago from what Weezer was supposedly saying, Justin being parked up. And that's the thing. Weezer only mentioned Justin and nobody else. So why? Why was it only Justin? Weezer did say it appeared that Justin was waiting around for someone or some kind of meetup. Now, I kind of understand that, okay? If you think about it, and we're not referring to Sunday just gone, we are referring to many weeks ago when the family went out searching for Dylan for 4 days straight. Maybe Justin got there first, parked up, wait for Candice Cooley and whoever else to come on down. They've all got their own individual trailers because if they're there for 4 days straight, they need some place to live in when they're in the middle of the desert, right? So that would tie in line with Weezer's comment, right? But with what we've now heard from what Janice said, that she saw the 3 cars coming down to Montello, 3 of them, Justin, Candice, Cooley and whoever, why were they driving down to this area? What business did they have in this area? That's my question. And Weezer, do you remember this? Sunday just gone? Candice, Cooley, Justin being in the area, whether they parked up or just simply drove through the area, what were they doing around here then? Does anyone know? Any Montello locals? Feel free to, give your thoughts right now because this is very interesting, in my opinion, right? We'll do a second poll right now, okay? Just make sure to vote on the current one. Get your thoughts in quick. And we'll move on. Okay, it's like in 2 stages, this. And take in mind, this has all happened within the same day, right? Is there a possibility that Candice Justin drove down this way to go on to Wendover? Possibilities, but let's remember, if you're already in Lucin, Utah, simply driving down the back roads south in parallel to Pilot Peak and the Nipple Peak, going down that way south eventually connects you onto the highway, which is a shortcut to get to Wendover and West Wendover. Why drive all the way down through Montello and then back to Wendover? It's too long. It's not practical, and I'm sure they would know about it. So there is definitely a direct reason for coming down here. Was it the family talking to the Montello locals, talking to Kurt Wadsworth? Is that possibility? If anyone knows or has the slightest idea, make sure to explain down below. If you are in a situation where you can't give the information public, and if you want to, you can reach out to my Instagram page. The link will be on my YouTube channel main page, top right corner of the screen near my channel art banner. Make sure to head on to my channel and you'll see it on the top right side where it says Instagram. Feel free to click on it and send a message if you have an idea or some kind of information under the circumstance that you're not able to really explain it public. Okay? Very interesting. So the second poll can be with Candice, Justin, whoever, coming down here, passing through Montello or maybe stopping by. What do you think? Why do you think they went in this direction? Vote option 1 could be because they needed to investigate Montello, something to do with Dylan, because they wanted to talk to some of the locals, e.g. Kurt Wadsworth, for whatever reason. They were simply just passing through the area. And then the other option can be other reason, and make sure to explain down below. Wow. It is very interesting, this. Definitely. Make sure we're facing north. There we go. You know, considering Montello has been described by Candice Cooley as only put on the map because of the Dylan Rounds case, if the location is so significant and only is because it's linked to Dylan Rounds, then for any time for Candice Cooley to be in the presence of Montello, it must be something to do with Dylan Rounds, right? It makes sense. Because what other reason would you be down here for? You know, arguably Lucin Utah, even if you don't live there, like Justin Candice, and they're further away where they live, they come down to that spot because that's roughly where Dylan was at when going missing. As for Montello, only reason why Justin went down here in the early days was to get those missing person $20,000 reward missing person posters of Dylan up in the area, such as Saddle Sore Bar on the front door, etc., and maybe the gas station. The only reason why Candice Cooley came down to this area alongside Justin at the beginning was because they believed from that tip-off of Kurt Wadsworth that Dylan was held hostage here. That's the only reason why Candice Cooley went to Montello, because she was under the assumption that's where Dylan was at. If Dylan isn't here, then Candice Cooley isn't coming down to this spot. And yet they supposedly did most recently. So, you know, does make you think, right? Now, one thing I will say, and can we type it in possibly? Just to get the brief little discussion going, because I know not everyone will remember. Is this the correct one? Saddle Sore Bar. I don't believe there's like new photos, but there you go. We're inside Saddle Sore Bar. It kind of looks small, right? That guy as well. Maybe it was the photos from a different channel which we looked at. Maybe it was Pancake's channel when Salty went down and he kind of like documented the area. And, you know, filmed inside, walked about, right? And in one of the corners or so where you had the bar, there was like a back door. And the theory was at the time, is there a possibility that Dylan Rounds was held captive, locked up, chained up in the cellar? It never was debunked. It just faded away simply because it was a theory, an idea, and I guess with time and maybe possible evidence coming out, it swayed the direction elsewhere, like the wash. But is there anyone right now that still feels that maybe Dylan is somewhere within Montello, Nevada? Feel free to give your thoughts. And to be honest, it's a bit vague saying that, so I'll be a bit more specific. I don't just mean any place in Montello, Nevada, because that could apply to the Wash area, like Luray Wash. What I'm saying is, do any of you feel that Dylan is within the town of Montello or very near to the town of Montello? Like in a building, the rubbish tip, any dirt mounds, any graves, landing strip, saddle sore bar, cellar, any other buildings nearby, dodgy containers, storage units. Anyone feel like that? Let me know. We probably could do a poll, but I don't know if it's too soon from the last one, what we did. Maybe if there's time I can add it in later, okay? But yeah, to be honest, if Kurt Wadsworth never spoke up about Dylan supposedly being held hostage, which turned out to be a false call, then would Montello have ever been talked about? If that didn't happen, would I even be referring to it now? I'm not quite sure. But I'll say one thing. I guess in the end, it was probably still a good thing it happened because it enabled the likes of Weezer, Ellenberg, and whoever else to appear on YouTube and for them to share their own thoughts. And maybe because of my coverage of the area, they came on over to share their thoughts or to clear up any misinformation or add to, interesting facts about the place. So I think at the end of the day, despite in the early days it being a bit of a mess, it turned out kind of better down the line, right? Because at least from the way it was worded at the beginning, my interpretation of Montello was 1 foot, stepped into the place, you're instantly shot and blown up. Not quite, bit of an exaggeration there, okay? Bit of a no thanks Doug moment there, but you get the idea. And obviously, salty pancakes at the start seemed really focused on the meth labs and the labs all over, as well as pancakes didn't try looking for the wig factory in Montello. Did you not hear about that, pancakes? There is a wig factory secretly in Montello, mass production of wigs. Yeah, I heard recently that Weezer put a wig on one of her tomatoes to make it look a bit more pretty. Did it grow? Yeah, it growed quicker. Interesting. But then again, that might be just using some additional products, you never know. But Weezer, feel free to share your thoughts about your garden area. How is it going? Are the tomatoes okay? Do you still have a few left over from the rest being thrown at whoever? It's a shame, Weezer, you didn't have those tomatoes with you when you got hounded by Pancakes that time. Now, my question is, what actually happened when Pancakes was within the area or nearby, wherever, when he started interviewing and talking to Weezer, when Weezer was having a break during the day from whatever she was doing? From what Weezer said, and Weezer can share her own story and additional thoughts to this, but on the day in the past, Pancakes in the area with a camera shoved in her face, asking questions and stuff. Was he behaving like a little goblin, nibbling away? I don't know, bit of a pointy nose. This is the thing, and what we need to acknowledge from last night, when we looked at that dodgy looking thumbnail of Bob, it literally looked like Pancakes. Now, I don't know if I can do a side-by-side comparison at some point. Maybe I can. Yeah, maybe I can at some point. But yeah, it's a bit random, all that stuff going on. And what actually happened to those videos with Pancakes going down to that area? What was it called? A pay-per-view? Some kind of one-off special ticket, $25 entry or something. To be honest, it seemed quite overpriced, just to be able to gain access to a bit of footage, wonky video recording, and maybe not the best quality at times. I don't know. But I guess maybe the price was to be able to afford the travel going down there, right? The fuel, paying for the fuel. Recently heard about Betty Hayward needed $400 to be able to get from point A to point B. But luckily, Watcher of Crazy was throwing money at Betty Hayward like some kind of pole dancing competition or something. I mean, yeah. Watcher of Crazy, excuse me, did you forget about me? Huh? Are my nips not enough? Is that not enough for that performance? No? You're going to be chucking all the notes at me? Watcher of Crazy. I fixed your lawnmower. I've fixed many more things in between. It's building with time. Yeah. Anyway, as said, gotta keep focused because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. Not again. Anyway, with that all aside, just click off for a second. So I would say, arguably, based off the title of this video, it's pretty valid that most people, at this moment in time at least, most people don't know about this until this video was made, right? And that's what I mean. The theme of is there other things, other talks and discussions that have gone on, maybe in the public eye, but it's been missed, slightly more obscure where it's found and located. What else have we not discovered yet? You get what I'm saying? More of that. And I don't mean the discoveries of all the other rumours going on down the line. That doesn't seem to work. Now, quick on the spot observation. When it comes to Bob Farrell appears to be the type of individual that will listen to all rumours in the hopes that at least one of the pieces of rumours turns out to be a fact and the truth. I can kind of understand that. You don't want to block yourself off from certain avenues of information or potential information. But then again, you don't really want to digest everything because it could really confuse you. And I think when it comes to Bob Farrell, he's taken some of the rumours seriously and applied them all together into one and is telling the story as it's, been portrayed by others. Yeah, a bit messy, but, you can do the same for like what you may have heard from Candice Cooley telling the story from her point of view. And other people telling the story from their point of view or from information that's been passed on to them, right? Maybe certain rumours are pushed by the motive of popularity contest, come out with the hottest information which may not be that groundbreaking. Also, what I do want to say is, okay, can anyone explain this to me right now? Okay, we'll just do a little spin around, make Tasha T very dizzy, get the sick bag out, Indiana. Woo, woo. There you go. 360s, left, right, and centre. But my question is, Linda Cushing, as she was the one quite passionate about it, wasn't Jim Terry supposed to be delivering ground-breaking, never seen, never heard before information, breaking news update on the Dylan Rounds case? Did that ever happen? Can anyone explain? Because, with Jim Terry, his channel being taken down in the process of being appealed, trying to get back onto YouTube, that tame live stream which occurred a few days ago, was there any talks about Dylan Rounds? Can anyone confirm? Can anyone confirm whether Jim Terry did that video talking about the breaking news information on the Dylan Rounds case? Yes or no? If you do know, explain down below. Appreciate it. If it hasn't happened yet, what could it be? I think, was it Joy Perry or someone else saying, it was probably footage of Dylan Rounds and his friend in a hot tub with Kurt Wadsworth. Like, this is what I'm saying. If it is to do with information, footage or photos of Dylan, Kurt or whoever before Dylan went missing, how relevant is it to Dylan being murdered and desecration taking place? If it reveals, even though it might not be the case, but for whatever reason it revealed some kind of secret relationship going on, how does that still lead to Dylan being killed? And I think the only possible motive would be, as suggested by other people and only other people, is Brenner felt jealous that Kurt was giving Dylan more time when Brenner wanted that time with Kurt. So Brenner, because of jealousy, took Dylan out of the picture so then Brenner could be with Kurt. It sounds a bit of a dodgy Disney movie gone wrong, right? But that's the motive, what some people believe. Okay, the possibilities. I don't know. We'll do a poll right now so people can express their emotions. Yeah? What's for crazy? You like my lisp? Really like my lisp? Okay, you can express your emotions with the color aesthetic pink. Okay, girl? So the poll can be, do you feel Brenner killed Dylan because he was jealous that Dylan was receiving more attention from Kurt and it was getting in the way of their secret relationship, if it does exist? Yes, no, maybe. The whole concept's pure bollocks. Feel free to vote right now, okay? So, I think that all said and done, we should probably move on to the awareness about Aidan Clune. I want to share with you, I'm going to keep that poll open right now to do with Dylan. But now, I want to share with you the Aidan Clune Facebook page, kind of like the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page. We'll see what it's all about, have a quick scan for it, see if there's any new updates, new information about Aidan Clune, okay? Here we are. You can see the backdrop Background saying help find Aidan Clune. Reward offered. So what, reward money included in this? I guess the question is, will the reward money ever be doubled, increased, or withdrawn? You never know. Does it follow the same patterns as Dylan Rounds? Who knows? Just get rid of that there. What do we have down below? About section. Why not? Let's read it. 19-year-old Aidan Clune went missing 50 miles south of Wells, Nevada. It's missing an S there. On April 27th, 2022. Searches so far have come up empty. Amy Clune, Aidan's mother, and other family and friends have been tireless searching and asking for help, travelling between her home in California and Nevada as often as possible. Quite some distance, right? Amy is specifically, but not limited to, asking for local help and support for searching, tips and knowledge of the area. Please share the group with everyone. Please leave suggestions for supporting groups of organisations that can be helpful if you know of any. Also, Aidan GoFundMe link is supporting groups or organisations, is listed and featured if you can help financially. Please treat all members and administrators with respect. So I assume that this was set up and approved at least by Amy Clune, Aidan's mother. Okay, so kind of like Candice Cooley scenario with Dylan Rounds and that Facebook group. But the difference here is they've got an Aidan Clune GoFundMe link. With Dylan Rounds, Candice Cooley said, we don't do GoFundMe, we don't associate with that type of stuff. Now my question is, this whole networking and reaching out and local help and support being welcomed, did Ty Corbin reach out to Amy Clune or any of the family members there saying, hey, I'm coming down just to look about and I'll document it for you? Does anyone know? Ty Corbin, if you're present, feel free to explain if you can. As for Lance Kelly, did he reach out to the mother? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because Lance Kelly did in the past, like a month ago or so, did an interview, it's probably a couple more months before that, did an interview with Aidan's mother, Amy Clune. Lance Kelly and Kimber on an interview. I think what was it on? Was it on Zoom? Was it on StreamYards? But uploaded to YouTube in a live format. I remember that. But then Salty Pancakes said Lance Kelly fell asleep halfway through it. And I think Pancakes was also criticising Aidan's mother. You'll see a pattern of that, I think, in different cases, back and forth, calling people out. Does it help? I don't think so. But anyone, leave your thoughts down below to what you think about that interview that took place back then with Lance Kelly and Aidan's mother. And they've reached out since. Don't know. But I said, I do feel that the Aidan Clune case, regardless, what's gone in and been put in, has gone pretty quiet. At least when you look at it on YouTube, the perspective of it like that, right? And sure, Lance Kelly, Ty Corbin doing their search videos, which is good of them and kind of helpful. Just statistically speaking, it's not as popular as Dylan Rounds' case, right? Unfortunately, it is a popularity contest, right? People may not agree with it or like how it's worded, but it's the truth. It's a bit messy. I don't know why it's popularity, unless people think that the Dylan Rounds case is more darker, whereas Aidan Clune, it's just a person going into a desert. But you could say it's more mysterious that because you got footprints going into the desert and then it just vanishes and you can't find any more. That's kind of spooky and creepy at the same time. Now, has the Aidan Clune case been induced with a lot of toxicity and drama like the Dylan Rounds community? If anyone can explain, feel free to list it down below. Just move down. What do you have here? Amy Clune. Okay. So it looks like Amy Clune is a part of this group, kind of like how Candice Cooley is with the Dylan Rounds Facebook page. Fair enough. 10th of October 2022. So it is old, this. Volunteers needed. Aidan Clune, 19 years old, brown hair, brown eyes, 5'8", 125 pounds. Now, in terms of Dylan Round's measurements, Dylan, 19 years old too at the time, hair and eyes were brown, marrones. Height, Dylan classified as 5'10", and weight, I think, was about 145 pounds. But in some of the posters, 160. It varied, right? So not too far off from one another. Aidan will weigh less just simply because of his height too, take in mind. Yeah, okay. Amy Clune, 14 hours ago. Let's welcome our new members. Okay, so there are still people joining on in. I guess that's good. Comments have been turned off. Interesting. Yesterday, more new members. 22nd of May, 18th of May. So there seems to be quite a few people joining, but not really any post. 15th of May, we are currently out cell service much of the time. I want to welcome all the new members. Thank you for your continued support. Appreciated. 15th of May. So I guess that's out there looking for Aidan Clune. Now, I know some people will already be aware. I believe there was an Aidan Clune search in recent time, and I believe Lance Kelly joined in on it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if it's documented here or not. But yeah, 15th of May. So, okay, fair enough. It does seem fairly active, this page. Because when I looked at it in the past, it seemed very, very quiet. And I'm sure there was a post by someone saying, I had to take this down because Amy Clune wanted me to or something. And then I thought, but looks like it's back up in activity. May time seems to be quite busy. 10th of May, we are so grateful for everyone joining. Please, if you're going to help search, we ask that you contact Amy, Aidan's mother. This is an organised search. We have safety protocols mapping protein packs. We also need data from where volunteers have searched to add to the data from all previous searches, as it's vital to find Aidan. There are some areas that we know Aidan did not go and areas that we need searched. We do not post this on Facebook. We have all the coordinates. We look forward to talking with you soon. Right, so around May time, these coordinated searches. So from the looks of it, Aidan Clune's case, as for coordinates, key locations, it doesn't seem as public as the Dylan Rounds case. This seems more tighter, more exclusive, more restricted, and maybe for good reason, to prevent things from being disrupted or harmed. So when it comes to an outsider covering a case like this, if you don't have inside intel because you're not allowed to, or it doesn't quite work because of friction, you'll have to think outside of the box. And that's foreshadowing if I ended up covering it down the line, okay? It might appear like I'm a bit loose when looking about, why am I not following this, why am I not following that, because the coordinates aren't provided because they're secretive in the little group, right? Who do we have here? John Lorden. If any of you on Twitter, please follow. Right. Let's welcome new members. Please watch this way well. The purpose of going through this is just to check for updates on Aidan Clune, but also to spread awareness of Aidan Clune's Facebook page, like community, just like the Dylan Rounds one. And I can provide links down below. I'll try and remember to do that, okay? And if you wish to visit these pages, you can, okay? Not really seen anyone cover it like this on YouTube, right? 7th of May, TikTok. Okay, so they're active on TikTok. Crime Bites, Aidan Clune, unless it was just someone doing a short video on it to spread awareness. See more post. We're not going to go through everything, okay? Wanted to post an update and let everyone know how much we appreciate your love and support with an upcoming search May 14th to the 20th. We've become very familiar with the search area over the last year, or organised. I'll tell you something, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what date it is today, and I actually completely forgot what month it was. I forgot it was May. Okay, so that all explains to why Dylan's anniversary is coming up, right? 28th of May will be the anniversary because that's the day he went missing. Are we at the 28th of May? I can't remember. I mean, I probably looked at the sell-by date of a burger when I was eating lunch, but I can't remember what that date was now. But, I can check the date afterwards on the computer. It's fine. But yeah, it's all coming up. And yeah, the 14th to the 20th, that search taking place, which I believe has already happened by now. Lance Kelly did his video about it, meeting up with the people or so. Yeah, I kind of understand it now. Now, just my question, is anyone going to try and sabotage it and call out Lance Kelly in the Aidan Clune case? Is anyone going to start saying, oh, he's done this, he's done that, he's bad, blah, 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 and spreading all that, right? And then talking about the cadaver dog and all that stuff, and then it puts Aidan Clune's mother off, or is Aidan Clune's mother not as strict as Candice Cooley is? Does anyone know? Is anyone going to try and start twisting things and dragging other people down elsewhere in other cases? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below in the chat. Do you feel that certain content creators out there that might have a bad reputation for good reason or misunderstanding, is it going to impact them negatively when they move on to other cases to try and solve? Is that past going to drag on with them? Or are people in the background going to make sure that these newer families are reminded of what this person is like, supposedly? Let me know your thoughts down below, right? It's kind of like with the YouTube situation. If certain channels get taken down from there, but they move on to Rumble. Yeah, they move on to Rumble, but they're not invincible, Certain past could drag on with them. You never know. Okay, so I think we've looked at enough here. You get the idea. Also to do with necklaces and stuff like that. Kind of like what Candice Cooley did with the seeds, the legacy of Dylan. So you do see a couple of crossovers, to be honest. Early interview, timeline. Also on YouTube, Mob Crew and Earthworm Infotainment interviews. Oh, did recent good report on timeline and Aidan's story. So Amy Clune did appear on Mob Crew Chris as well. Interesting. This is what I mean. I came into the Dylan Rounds case, saw all these channels new for the first time, never heard of them ever before, never heard of any of them, never heard of No Thanks, Mob Crew, Zav Girl, Jim Terry, never heard of any of these people, and yet they all seem to know one another in some way and have been around, and yet I've been completely unaware of it. And I have looked at true crime over time, right? True crime cases, and I never saw these people before. Interesting. But then again, equally, they would have never have heard of me, most likely, so it's kind of even. So yeah, there you go. That's the Aidan Clune Facebook page for spreading awareness on the case and providing updates too. Let me know your thoughts down below to this video. Are you interested by it? Feel free to like the video too to spread awareness of it. Are you one of the individuals that had no clue, never heard of this stuff mentioned before to do with Dylan Rounds and what recently happened with Candice Cooley, Justin Bean down there? Just let me know down below. If you've got additional information you want to add, leave a comment. If you've got questions, grievances, leave a comment down below. We will see what happens next. And, as I keep saying, time will tell. And once again, time has told once again as to what's recently gone on. Question is, what will happen next? We'll see. But for now, thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye and good night.